And we're back. Right now, we are doing draft strategies to help you guys prepare for your draft. It's been around. I just heard of it like a few weeks ago, and I tried it in a mock draft. He did, so I'm going to let him explain it to you. It's called bye-week stacking. So Josh is the one that told me about it. I got to do more research on it. Not week 10. Definitely not week 10. Week 8 looks like a good bye-week stack if you're going to do that strategy. But yeah, let's let Josh explain to you exactly how it works.
Thank you, Craig. I read it on an ESPN article. I think it was Matthew Berry, Manifesto, which is really good. You guys should read it. That's actually one of my hints later. Bye-week strategy is you pick pretty much your almost entire starting lineup have the same bye. I know that sounds really stupid, and most people don't do that. They pick like all different buys. But if you think about it, it actually makes sense. The week you pick, you will lose. There's no doubt about it. You will lose unless other team has no players. Unless you play against Alex Pena or Kelly. Or Amanda. Or Craig. In the playoff week. You're gonna if you don't lose and you win, be very happy. But if you think about it, there are 7 bye weeks. So in the other 6 bye week games, you're gonna have your full lineup, and everyone else is gonna have to have at least one of their starters and most of the weeks out. So you're gonna have your full best complement against their not as good roster. And if you think about it, at least this is what they came up with. If you switch your starter with your bench player, it's at least 4 points usually. And that's actually low if you think about it, especially if the guy is like your best running back, like your first round pick. So let's say 4, and so that means at least you'll be going to each game with a 4 to 20 point advantage, which is really, really good. So you should. You're going to be the favorite in almost every single game, especially if you drafted well. So it makes sense. Most people, it does take practice. Definitely do a few mocks, and definitely look to see. Week 8 is a lot. They have really a lot of good quarterbacks: Flacco, Cutler, Eli, Kevin Korn, Matt Ryan, and that's about it. Yeah, and then there's a lot of, and then like Ray Rice, Michael Turner, McCoy, Forte. No. Okay, yeah. It just make sure you work on it, and make sure when you pick your bench, like your bench players, they don't have week 8, because then you'll have no one to play. So if you pick after probably the 7th round, pick people that don't have week 8 bye, so you can actually maybe have some sort of chance of winning, which you're not. But I'm thinking about doing it. I probably won't. I'm kind of scared to lose a game. I feel like I'm going to play a good team. Okay, and here's Phil, who has no idea what I'm talking about. Because he's Moo!
Thanks, Josh! Clearly the Week 10 team did not do well when drafting this way.
It's an interesting strategy for sure. But still, it's pretty tough to form a whole team around that. Takes a lot of practice. Yeah, I know, but but did you look at his overall team?
It wasn't that bad.
Gonna bring it up in a minute. Going back to Mo.
Yeah, when I did that mock draft, I did week 10. Oakland, San Diego, New Orleans were pretty much the only Green Bay, pretty much the only good teams that have stars on their team. Yeah, those are the 4, and I saw Aaron Rodgers at 9, and I was like, all right, and then I got Ryan Grant. Yeah, so I'm like, I guess I have to do this. Yeah. Speaking of what I just did, getting Aaron Rodgers and Ryan Grant on the wraparound in the first 2 rounds, there's another strategy. Not really a strategy. It's a thing that it's like you have to do a lot of research and think really hard about it. And I'm talking about same team tandems. When I say tandems, I mean Peyton to Reggie Wayne. You know what I mean? Phillip Rivers and Vincent Jackson is the most statistically the highest one last year. I'm not a big fan of it. I did it though because it worked out to my bye week draft. How do you guys feel about same team tandems such as like Reggie Wayne and Peyton Manning?
I think a receiver and a quarterback tandem isn't necessarily a bad idea. I think two receivers together is a pretty bad idea. I was a little.
You don't want Donald Driver and Greg Jennings.
No, exactly. Yeah, you don't want Donald Driver. You don't want Donald Driver and Greg Jennings in the same team. Last year, I was a bit of an exception. I had Reggie Wayne and Dallas Clark. That worked a little well, but they both. No, I didn't have Peyton, but yeah, if I got all three, touche. But I don't think it's that great of a strategy. If you're playing them in opposite slots, that is. So if you're playing Donald Driver in one wide receiver, Greg Jennings in the other, no, not my thing.
I don't even really think about it. Like, it's not even like I don't even really care about it. If the guy is best on my draft, on my big board, I just pick him. I don't care if he's in the same team as some guy on my other team. If you think about it, this happened a lot last year. A guy in my division who I played twice, I had Tom Brady and he had Randy Moss. So pretty much when you play, they equal each other out almost. Because he gets if he throws to Randy Moss, which he most likely is going to do. Exactly, as I'm saying. So, I mean, I wouldn't be afraid of it. If you think he's the best player available, pick him. I wouldn't have like the entire Green Bay offense. That wouldn't be terrible, but I wouldn't have. I mean, I really don't mind. Let's say you have. I don't know why the host's talking. But if you have Aaron Rodgers and Ryan Grant, that means if they're in like the 10, you're not going to be really that upset. Whatever they do, if they throw the ball, run the ball, you can get the touchdown. But let's say like this happened a lot last season. The Vikings were inside the 10, and I'm like, run the ball with Adrian Peterson. Nope, Brett Favre pass, so I don't get a touchdown. So I feel like just don't really even think about it. It's kind of stupid. The host just came up with a stupid thing because he's not smart and he's not Mo. So yeah, just don't think about it. That's it. Mo.
Yes, I did come up with this. I am coming up with this right now. What you brought up a good point about how my brother had Randy Moss and how you had Tom Brady. Now you could take this a little deeper and actually make it a strategy of actually taking the tandems within a division. What do you think about that idea?
That takes you'd have to be lucky with draft position. Yeah, you'd make a lot of reaches. Yeah, you have to make a lot of reaches with draft position. If you two people in your division are behind you, how is that going to work? Except for on the the next round coming. What if they don't pick their quarterback? Then it's not worth it. It's a toss up. Sure, if Randy Moss got an 80-yard touchdown reception, it's more points for Randy Moss. But if it was no, it's always more points for the wide receiver. Never mind. Yeah, so it's not like you're gonna go around with trying to come up with some crazy idea of beating out your division that way. Just draft the best that you can, and don't do that.
Good example. Let's say I have Drew Brees. I'm not going to intentionally try and get Marcus Colston or any. If I have a quarterback, I'm not going to intentionally try and get a receiver. Especially, let's say Colston is let's say is your 13th. And let's say the 8th best receiver is available. I'm not going to reach 5 spots just to pick him. Reaching is the worst thing ever. Never reach. Keep your arms very close to your body so you can't reach. Like be a dinosaur. Be a T-Rex. Keep your arm. That sounds really stupid, but it kind of makes sense. Never reach. Just follow your big board. Mope.
Speaking of reaching, we're going to talk about that and how it relates to your tier work that you do in your big board after this commercial break. So we'll be right back.